Welcome everybody to another episode powder coating playlist. Today we're going to be powder coating or trying to powder coat the covers for a Yamaha ATV. We've got a little bit of cleaning up to do on those. We are also going to be trying to powder coat the valve cover. We're going to be trying to powder coat the valve cover. This is what I'm using to get rid of the paint and the coating that's on the valve cover now and on the side covers. Pretty powerful stuff. Obviously want to wear gloves and all that. So I already applied the stuff to this and cleaned it off the best that I could. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Alright, so there's the valve cover. It's still smoking a little bit, burning off the stuff. So we've got a little bit of cleaning to do yet, and I honestly don't know how it's going to turn out. Really hard to clean. It's got a lot of holes, and it's got a couple crevices and stuff in it. So it's going to be interesting to see how the powder coat reaches down in there and how it adheres to the sides and all that kind of stuff. So while we're letting that cool down, we're going to keep going with starting to clean this and getting it ready to powder coat. Now, and you can probably see that the paint's already, paint or whatever finish was on it is already coming up. So we're still waiting for that to dry off. Gonna clean it some more. We're gonna keep going with cleaning this piece up. Got a lot of rubber to get off, scrape off and clean it up and get it ready. Got everything taped off on this, and there's a lot of holes, but none of them are threaded. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And we're getting ready to powder coat. All right, so we got our setup going on here. We're getting ready to powder coat this in black. Got everything taped off. I got the ground wire running underneath, and it's actually hooked right to the head. So since there's a lot of crevices and a lot of different areas to get to, we're going to start off with the low voltage setting, and with the tip being on the gun as such, and we're running right around 11 or 12 psi on our gun. So we'll see how it turns out. There it is. Put her in the oven and see how she turns out. So at 5 minutes, some parts of it started to flash. Let's see what degrees it is. And that part of it's 220 degrees. So about 230 degrees, it started to flash, but we're not up to 400 yet. It took 25 minutes for this to reach temperature. It's just been in there. The timer just went off at the 20-minute mark. But it took 25 minutes to get it to where it needed to be. At first glance, it doesn't look too bad, but we'll see what it looks like after it cools off. So here's the final product, if you can see that. Get some light on it. It doesn't look bad, and this is a semi-gloss. I can see a couple, might not be able to see it on camera, but there's a couple spots where I didn't quite get all the coverage that I needed. And also another thing I learned is if any type of dirt or anything like that will obviously make a difference. So there was some stuff that was hard to get to down in here, and there's you won't see it, but I know it's there. But you can see anything to do with dirt. And also I had laid it flat on tin foil, and I didn't tape off the mating edge, the edge here, and that's something that I'm going to definitely do the next time, because it let some powder run into that edge, which you don't want when you're trying to mate two edges together with gaskets. So I got to clean that up a little bit, but overall didn't turn out bad. So right now we have the other two cases, and this one's just getting heated up to bake out all the impurities and make it easier to wipe down, and then this one's going in next, and then that'll be it. So we'll see how these two turn out. All right, so it's been a few days, had a lot going on, but we're finally back. We're gonna finish up these cases, get them in the oven, get them coated, get them in the oven, and see how they turn out. So right now we're going to go ahead and tape everything off that we don't want coated, and start powdering it. So you can see that it's got some blemishes, and again, I'm sure there'd be a lot less blemishes and so on if I had a there'd be less blemishes if I had a sandblaster or a vapor blaster or something like that, but I don't, so I had to use paint stripper, and I used the Eastwood paint prep, which helped clean a lot. So we're gonna see how it turns out. Now this isn't dirt. I mean, I took Scotch-Brite to it. I did everything that I possibly could to get that stuff off, and we're just gonna have to see how it turns out. So you can see there's less blemishes on here, but on here we'll see how spots like this turn out when it comes out of the oven. And again, this is a black powder, so it probably doesn't matter as much. I'm sure with a different color or a chrome type, it would probably come through a lot more. We just put the one cover in, and you can see the shiny spot there as I forgot to tape something off, so I just wiped the powder off, and we started the stopwatch to see how long it takes before this starts to flow, and at what temperature. So right around 7 minutes it started to flow, and the part is at 254 degrees. So one part is done. We'll get this out. I can see a couple small things, but let's get this part in. So this part reached 400 degrees after, it was like 18 minutes. So 18 minutes later it reached 400 degrees, and then you gotta cure it for 20 minutes after that. And we'll wait until it cools down, and I'll show you. There's some blemishes and some areas that didn't get caught. which that was my fault. But overall, doesn't look too bad. So right around 4 minutes, and again 230 degrees, this started to flow out. So this part took 14 minutes to reach 400, and it's finally done. So we'll let it cool off and see how it looks. All right, so let's take a look. So this is the case that had a lot more blemishes, and this is the case that was the cleanest, and by far it has the least amount of blemishes. It looks, actually this case looks very good in my opinion. Still cooling off a little bit, but it looks really good, which proves the point of making sure that everything is obviously cleaned up and taken care of and so on and so forth. But there's the two cases. Pretty happy with them. They're going to look great on the bike. So thanks a lot for watching another episode on the MotoEsh YouTube channel, episode of powder coating, and we'll see you next week.